Welcome to the Lose Your Big Ass Stomach podcast. I'm your host, Jay Jackson, and my mission here is to help you get rid of that big ass stomach and take back control of your health so that you can look and feel your best by being the best version of yourself, mentally and physically, while destroying the mediocre agenda society is trying to brainwash you into, and breaking our families' generational curses of being unhealthy by being a healthy and fit role model. It's time to set a new standard. It's time to set a new standard of living. If you find the podcast helpful, be sure to hit that follow button because that helps us build a movement. Let's go.
All right, let's get it in, man. Let's get it in. All right, guys. Man, I've been excited about this one right here, man, because this guy, he came inside the coaching program, and he's been crushing it. Like I don't want to spill the beans. I want him to be able to, have his glory. But listen, I'm talking with Christopher Walker right now. And man, I'm excited about the conversation, bro. I'm really excited. And so, Chris, man, I think the best place to start, because I know a lot of times people, they see, the transformation, they see the weight loss, they see the success story, but they don't know the backstory, right? And so, before we dive into all the nitty gritty of the results and everything, take us back before you actually joined. Like, what type of things did you try? What was your headspace? How were things before you actually joined and started working with me?
So I've never been skinny. I've always been like a bigger guy. And back when I was in high school, I was around 250. So, and I think that's the lowest weight I've ever been. So I kind of made a pact to myself. I was like, you know what? And I've never told anybody this, but I was thinking in my head, I don't want to get any bigger than what I am now. I'm going to try to stay this size. And then, graduate high school. And then over the course of 1 year, I gained 50 pounds in a year. So I went from about 250 to 300. And then over the course of another year, I gained another 50. So in the course of 2 years, I gained 100 pounds and went up to about between 350, 355. And that's the heaviest I've ever been. And I just stayed there for years. And I was like, you know what? I know I need to lose weight, but back then I really wasn't on the eating right, working out path. So I was just like, you know what? That's not for me. So fast forward a couple years ago, probably around, I say maybe about 2020, something like that. My man's was training for his firefighter's test because he's a firefighter in my area. He was like, man, I'm going to the gym. You need to come join me, this, that, and the third. I kept telling him, I'm not coming. I'm not going to show up. And then, I just got tired of the dude asking. So I was like, you know what? I'll come with you one time. Came with him one time. Went back a second time. Went back a third time. Ended up getting a membership. 6 months later, I'm still there. But, I really wasn't seeing the results I wanted to see. Like back then, I was still eating Chick-fil-A for breakfast a couple weeks, like 800, 900,000 calories to breakfast. Then when I didn't do Chick-fil-A, I would do the microwave sausage with a couple of donuts, or I would do a couple of muffins, and then I was drinking V8 juice all day. Yeah. And, I would alternate the V8 juice in the water, doing that in the third. But, so I'm still working out. So I'm not gaining any weight, but I'm losing minimal weight. So I think I probably lost about 10 to 15 pounds, went down to about 330, 335, 336, something like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm seeing minimal progress. And then after that, probably about 20, probably about late 2022,
Mm-hmm.
summer 2022, I had some things change in my life, and I was going through a transition. I got laid off from my job, and a couple other things happened. Had to I was trying to get back on my feet, put with the job, and so I just stopped going. I was like, hey, I don't have no time to go. And at the time, I was, while I was trying to find another IT job, I was doing DoorDash full time and Instacart full time and doing that, delivering people's things to their house. And with that type of work, some days are busy, some days ain't. So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I have to maximize my time. So I would start at 6 a.m. in the morning and I would not end till like 8, 9 p.m. at night. And in my head, I'm thinking, I know I need to get back. I know I need to get back. I don't have no time right now. I just didn't have any time to do it because as I said, I had to maximize time even on slow days to make money to pay bills. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I started doing that, did that full time for over a year. And then when I got back when I got another job in the field back in May, because I always knew I would get another IT job. It was the simple fact of when. It was a simple fact of when. And then I also had to get a certification in my field and all this. So I ended up taking a certification class, got the certification. I'm like, okay, I got the certification now. Now that's going to help me get another IT job. So I finally got another IT job. I'm like, okay, starting to get back on track, got the IT job. That's what I'm doing full time now. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, now I have to make time to get back in the gym, because the whole time I wasn't going to the gym, I'm thinking in my head, I need to get back, I need to get back, I need to get back. But I just didn't have any time. So I got the IT job, got back on track, and now I'm thinking, okay, when can I get back in the gym? When can I get back in the gym? And my primary care doctor, he had put me on blood pressure medication, and he's talking about sleep apnea. Now, my mom has sleep apnea, and she's had it for years, and she's on the machine and all that. And yeah, she's on the CPAP. And in my head, I'm like, okay, we've done the sleep test. He's given me the prescription. And at the time I was on 5 milligrams of the blood pressure medication, but I really wasn't taking it every day. I was taking one day, 3 days off, taking another day. So I really wasn't taking it every day. So the doctor was like, all right, I'm going to bump you up to 10 milligrams. So I'm like, okay. Damn. So I started taking it like 3 times a week, but I still wasn't taking it every single day. I go to my appointment, whatnot, and this is back in May of this year.
Okay.
I go to my appointment. He's like, all right, you know what? You need to start taking that medicine every day, and you need to start working out. You can start minimal, walking, bike riding, doing this, doing that. He was like, all right, I'm going to give you about 4 months. I'll see you in September. If ain't nothing changed, I'm a seriously consider adding on some meds and doing this, doing that. I'm thinking in my head, man, I'm 31. Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna let you add some more meds. So around June, I got back in the gym around June, and I started I started doing. I went back to what I was doing 2 years ago. I was just eating the vegetables and baked chicken every single day for like the whole month of June. But still, I knew I was still off a little bit, and I needed a little. I wanted specifically a workout plan, and I wanted somebody to draw me up a meal plan.
Right, right.
That's what I specifically wanted, because you looking on you looking on Instagram, and one person doing this, somebody else doing that. What worked for you may not work for me.
Right.
What worked for me may not work for you. So I'm scrolling on Instagram. I come across a couple of dudes' pages, whatnot. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose between 1, 2, and 3. I'm like, okay, all right. So I start going through the Instagram page. I'm like, all right, he got a couple clients. He got a couple clients, and then it was another dude. There was another dude, and I was like, he got a couple clients, but he doesn't have that big of a. It looks like he's just getting his business off the ground.
Right.
I was like, all right, let me go with the other two. So I'm looking at it, and then I also contemplated getting an in-person trainer. But I'm thinking in my head, I really didn't want an in-person trainer, because my problem, because by that point, I had already been back in the gym for about 3.5 weeks, something like that. So my problem wasn't going. My problem was I need structure when I go. So I'm like, okay, I don't want an in-person trainer. And then I know people who have in-person trainers, and I'm like, $75 to $100 per session. You go about 3-4 times a week. We talking anywhere between $275 and $400 a week, times that by 4. I'm like, dang, these people shelling out some real dough to get somebody in person. And then I thought to myself, you know what? To cut the cost down, you can do the online coach, which means it's going to be significantly cheaper because they don't have to show up in person.
Right.
Number one, so I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and choose between these two. And so I just ended up choosing you and sending you a message. Now, when I first started in the program, then I've said this in a group chat before, all I really wanted was a meal plan and workout. I didn't care about what everybody else was doing. I didn't care about a group chat. I didn't care about any of those. Those are extras. Like those are extras that come for free.
Right.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Right.
I get everybody else's opinion for free. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. And I think, and
so crew, before we dive into the coaching, the experience, because that, man, your story is fascinating. Like you went through a lot of adversity with gaining the weight, and then I admire the fact that you started trying, which I think a lot of people, they get to a point where they're like, I don't want to get no heavier than this. And then it just seemed like life started happening. Like it just kind of got away from you, out of hand, because it's just life and you losing your job, along with you just saying to yourself, man, my buddy, he going to the gym. Well, he keep asking me, I might as well start showing up. And so that part really grabbed me as well. So what was it that made you, like, what was it in your mind, or what happened that made you say, man, I got to keep with this. I got to start doing this, and I want to stick with it now. Like, what happened there that made you come to that realization?
Honestly, it would, like, when I used to think of going to the gym, I used to think of I was thinking, man, this is gonna be hard. I'm gonna be aching all the time. I'm not gonna be able to move. Nothing. Honestly, it's not as bad as people portray it to be. Because once you're used to it, you're used to it. Like the hardest thing is going back after you've taken a couple of days off. Like when I took, because Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
All right.
That weekend where I was off, I was resting Saturday and Sunday. That Monday came, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna switch to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. When that Tuesday came back around, I'm like, dang, man, I should have went Monday. I'm sitting there thinking, dang, I should have went Monday. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and knock these 4 days out. And I'll be good. And so it's kind of like once you get used to it, you should be good. But the thing is, because I'm the type of person where if somebody tells me something to my face, 9 times out of 10, I don't believe it. I'm the type of person where you have to show me that it works.
Right.
Then I'm on board with you.
Right.
So I'm fully aware now that 90% is what you put in your body. 90% is what you eat. So it's like now my Chick-fil-A order now consists of I get a spicy Southwest salad. I get one extra grilled chicken fillet to put on the salad, and then I get a fruit cup. That's my Chick-fil-A order now. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Every Saturday morning, I do have that cheat meal at Chick-fil-A every Saturday morning. So every Saturday morning, I have the cheat meal for breakfast at Chick-fil-A. But I had to get my nutrition right. The Chick-fil-A order, that's a go-to. I go to Panda Express sometimes and get the beef and broccoli with the Mandarin chicken. That's a go-to. And then I'll go to Chipotle from time to time. That's a go-to. But majority of the time, I cook at home now. I cook it and with me, my mom will tell you the same thing. I hate washing dishes. I can't stand washing dishes.
Right.
I've never liked washing dishes. So the air fryer is my best friend.
Ooh,
I put my protein in the air fryer. I put my vegetables on the stove. I only got to wash 2 things, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like where you're going with this because you're giving out some cheat codes, which, man, they're getting some real game right here just from hearing your story. I hope folks taking notes. But, one of the things that I realized you just said just a couple of minutes ago was you started to realize nutrition is where it's at when it comes to dropping weight. What made you come to that realization? Because I know earlier on in your journey, you just need to get to the gym. Your buddy was like, hey, man, start coming to the gym with me. And then after a while, you went ahead and caved and you were like, all right, I'll come, But at what point did it just click in your head, man, I got to get this nutrition on point to really drop this weight?
So when I was working out consistently about 2 years ago in 2022, I wasn't, even though I wasn't seeing the best results, I wasn't gaining any weight either. But even though I wasn't eating the best, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not losing the amount of weight I want to lose, but to offset that, I'm not gaining any weight either. And yeah, I'm not eating the best, but I do tend to eat a little bit healthier for lunch and dinner. So one thing was offsetting the other. So
I see.
it's kind of like when I started to what when I started to realize nutrition was key to it, that's when everything else happened. When I lost a job, this, that, and the third, I was running around all day, delivering people stuff and like that. And what made me gain some of the way back was I was always driving around doing this. I'm sitting there stopping at 7-Eleven, drinking Slurpees, doing this, doing that. I'm like, dang, man. I'm like, dang. At least before this, I was starting to see some stuff, but it wasn't the best. Now, I'm just not completely seeing nothing now. So when I got everything back on track, I was like, okay, now I need to get my nutrition fully locked in. And, it's just not locked in all the way. Granted, I take responsibility for that. It's fully not locked in all the way. Like, sometimes I'll come home after a workout, eat my meal, and then probably before I go to bed or something like that, I'll eat me like a small slice of cake or something like that. I'd be like, you know what? One piece of cake, one day a week ain't gonna hurt.
Right.
Like, I'll do that probably one day a week, but I'm not doing it every day.
Yeah, and I appreciate that transparency, because that's one of the things. That's one of my biggest values: being authentic. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of trainers out there, these snowflake trainers. They'll make it seem like all they eat every day, all day is chicken and broccoli, steak and vegetables, and it's a season where a person could possibly do that. But damn, I gotta eat like this all day, every day for the rest of my life. I think that's one of the reasons most people never get started. And so I'm glad you made that point, because you're still dropping weight, which you're getting ready to, talk to everybody about your results and everything. But my whole thing is, guys, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like, you don't have to be super spot on and dialed in like a bodybuilder. Because most of us, we're not trying to be bodybuilders. We just want to look good in our clothes, look good when we take our clothes off. We want to be healthy so we can be around, and part of health is having energy. You know what I'm saying? And so those are some super good points you made there, man. And the other thing that you mentioned was not wanting to have to get on more medication. I think what do you feel like just did it for you? Like when he said, "Hey, if you don't start making some changes, you have to put you on more." Why do you feel like a lot of people tend to, because I see this happens to a lot of people. People don't make the change until life forces them to change versus just changing early. Like what was going on like in your head?
So it's when he said that, that did trigger me, because I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, dang, man, I'm only 31. And you talking about, I'm gonna think about adding this. I'm like, so I'm looking at him like, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to get back. It's time to get back, because because I scroll Instagram and I see all these people talk about their weight loss, this, that, and the third. I'm doing this. Yeah, this will help me out. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Yeah, it's time to get back. It's time to get back, get right. And what kind of did it for me was, I truly thought that you get your chicken, get your rice, and get your some type of vegetables, and you eat that 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't so I knew about fish, then I knew about steak and all this other stuff, and you can occasionally eat some pork, but I didn't know that those actually helped you too. So now I'll do my cycle, my strip steak, my fish, my chicken. I'll do shrimp from time to time, and I'll just continue to cycle the same 4 and the same 5. And the cauliflower, the broccoli, the green beans, stuff like that. And I'll just continue to cycle those. And like, it's you're not eating the same thing every day. So you're not getting bored.
Right.
With your food choices.
I like that, because that's one thing I tell people, like, you don't have to eat the same thing every day, because some people do find themselves getting bored with eating chicken and broccoli, or if it's steak and whatever it is, eating the same thing every day can get somewhat boring for people. And I even talk about that inside my book, Gut to Abs, which is, the rule of 3. Find your 3 proteins, 3 vegetables, 3 fruits. And so that gives you a sense of structure around your meals, and not having to eat the same thing, but you're rotating meals, but you still have structure within it, right? And so, I know you mentioned you had been looking at a couple of different trainers on social media. What was it about me that made you like say, okay, man, let me go ahead and rock with Jay and get going?
Honestly, I just dropped a pen in a hat. I really did. I really just dropped a pen in a hat. I sat there and I was like, I literally sat there and I was like,
right.
boom. I'm like, all right, here's what it is.
Yeah. Let God take care of the rest.
Yeah. I was like, hey, it is what it is now.
Right.
So
talk to me about, like, how's your experience been inside, because what's been like, was 4 or 5 months now, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And so talk to me about some of the things that you've found beneficial inside the coaching program. What stood out, what's been standing out to you, or what stood out to you in the beginning, and what do you find helpful up to this point?
So when I first started, I had to learn that you can't measure yourself against other people. I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I could lose like 40 pounds in the first 3 months. I'm trying to go to the higher side. 40, who knows? I make it lose 50 pounds in the first 3 months. Then I had to realize, I'm like, that's not gonna be possible. It's not. So it's like you have to learn what works for you, because everybody, different stages of it. Some people in the program got kids. Some people are older. Some people work more. Some people do this. Some people do that. And I constantly tell people, I'm like, I kind of have an advantage over other people because, one, I don't have no kids. Half the time, I really do be chilling by myself unless I'm with my homies or something like that. And 3, it's just me. I only spend money on myself. And I was thinking in my head, let's get this under control now, because in the future, I do want to have children in the future. I want to do this in the future. I want to do that in the future. And I'm not trying to be that absorbently overweight guy that can't chase his future kids around. They can't do this, they can't do that. Because I be watching my 600-pound life. I be watching things like that. I be thinking in my head, I'll be like, I just think, man, that is years of just doing nothing. Nothing. And I'm thinking, man, I got to do something. I can't end up like that. No, I can't.
Right. Yeah. I think everyone's a little different in terms of when they wake up, but I that's really one of the reasons I post so much content to catch people at the right time, because people gonna be ready when they ready. But as long as the message is in front of them, at some point they gonna be like, man, all right, let's get going. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you got people out here, man, they're gaining, into the fours and the fives and the sixes. And I totally admire the fact and respect the fact that you're thinking ahead of the game. Like, man, I have a wife, I have kids. I want to be able to not just exist and just do the bare minimum. You want to show up and be your best self for them.
Yeah, because I have a friend who's a little overweight, stuff like that. And a couple years ago, he had lost a significant amount of weight, probably like maybe 8-9 years ago. He had went on a liquid diet and lost a bunch of weight.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm sitting there thinking in my head, who knows? He may keep it all. And then a couple years later, went right back to the old habits. Went right back to the old habits.
Mm.
Now I'm sitting up. Now I've learned through my experience is I can talk all day. I can talk all day. I can point you in the right direction. I can try to help you. Most people have to decide on their own accord. Okay, this is my line.
Yeah.
And whenever he decides this is his line, I'ma still be going to the gym. I ain't gonna stop.
Right.
You gonna see me there.
Yeah. That point right there, that part and the other part of you running your own race. Because about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I had already been doing online coaching, but I didn't have the community aspect of it. People they join, I give them the workout, the meal plan, they do the weigh-ins and progress photos, and then they report to me every week what type of results they got, right? Then once I introduced the Lions Den community, I noticed how some people would compare themselves to other people's success. Some people would be really excited in the beginning, then they see other people posting results, and if they weren't getting those same type of results, they start feeling down. They start feeling like they're not worthy of being able to post, inside the community. But like you just said, man, everybody has to run their own race. You can't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 15. You know what I'm saying? And everyone's journey is gonna be different. Just how you don't have kids, and a lot of our members do, and everyone has their challenges, and we all gonna go through our fair share of adversity. But I like the fact that you didn't use that as you didn't use any excuses. You got in and you start running the play. Like, I'm like, this guy rising star.
Because I do know it's certain things that I'll do when I'm young that I'm probably not going to do when I'm older. Like,
yeah,
I know for a fact, if I was in my late 40s, early 50s, I'd have never started this. I'd have been like, this is what it is now. Hey, but
what makes you say that though?
Because I'm kind of, I would have kind of been like, I'm older now. I'm older. Yeah, it's been done by older people. But
right.
Do I feel like doing it as an older person? So my mindset was kind of like, let me do this now while I don't have a lot going on.
Right.
So when I do in the future gradually have a wife, get married, start having kids, then it'll just be human nature to do it then.
Yeah, it's habit. It's already a routine. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with you on that, because my dad talks to me about, man, son, work hard while you're in your 20s and your 30s, because your energy ain't gonna be the same when you get into your 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I noticed that just being 34 versus when I was 24. Like, I can't stay up 1, 2 a.m. no more and try to get up at 5. So I totally get it. And so the biggest thing is adopting the right habits and routines early. And even if you're, in your 40s and your 50s, I have members like Ann, she's down like 80 something pounds, and she's like, I ain't gonna talk about age, but I think she's in her 50s. And so, it's never too late. But the biggest thing is adopting the right habits and routines. And the longer it takes to get to that point, that realization, we find ourselves content with the routines and habits that we have, and it becomes a lot more uncomfortable to break those bad habits. I think that's one of the big challenges for a lot of
Yeah.
people. But over the past couple of months, man, like tell everybody, I know everybody been sitting around like, man, what kind of results you got, man? What kind of show us the results, man? And so over the course of the first 12 weeks, how much weight did you drop? And then up to this point, now, how much weight have you dropped?
I think I lost maybe 25 pounds over the first 12 weeks.
Yeah.
It's about 25 pounds over the first 12 weeks, because when I back in May I was 342. When I started the program, I was 337.
Mm-hmm.
And after the first 12 weeks, I think I was around about maybe 315, 314, 315 after the first 12 weeks. Right now, I'm at 307 right now.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't, because I've done the math and I've done all that, it's about 7.5 pounds a month.
Yeah.
So if I continue on the path I'm at, I should be able to pop out at the beach next summer.
Oh, for sure. For sure. No question.
I should be up.
Yeah. And man, I'm super proud of you, man. You dropped well over, at this point, it's like 35,
Yeah,
40 something
about
pounds.
35, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's awesome, man. It takes some people, months, if not years, to drop that kind of weight. That's a huge accomplishment, man. Super proud of you. What would you say, like for everybody who's listening, the 2 to 3 things that, like, the shifts that you made to make these results happen? Like what would you say those things were that allowed you to get to this point?
One, you got to show up. You have to show up. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to go Monday, go Thursday, and go Saturday. And I know people's lifestyle, people doing different things, stuff like that, but you have to show up. If you can only do those 3 days a week, maximize those 3 days. Maximize them. If you can do 4 days, great. If you can do 5 days, great. But maximize. When you do go to the gym, maximize the days you go. And and for people out there, you don't have to choose the most expensive gym. You don't gotta go to Gold's, where you gotta Gold's or LA, because one of the hardest things I had to do was choose a gym. That was one of the hardest things I had to do, because I was like, okay, Gold's, I'm not paying $80, $90 a month to go to Gold's. And I'm thinking, well, I could go to LA Fitness, but I'm thinking in my head, they want you to pay $129 up front, plus they want you to pay the fee, and they want to pay. I'm like, nah. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go right over here to Planet Fitness, pay my little $25 a month. I can go to any gym in my area for $25 a month, and I'll be good. So first, you have to choose a gym that benefits and helps you, and then maximize the time that you're there.
So showing up is number one. Make sure you show up.
Yep.
Right.
The second thing would be nutrition. Nutrition. Get you some type of coach, nutritionalist, something like that. And like, you don't have to be with them forever. You can stay with them 4, 5 months, maybe half a year. So you can get locked in, and then you be like, okay, cool, I can do it on my own now. But you have to have a starting point where you're like, okay, I'm going to start here. So The second thing is nutrition. Get your nutrition locked in and find somebody who helps you with your like personal case, stuff like that. And
yeah, 100%.
yeah, that's the second thing. And the third thing I would say is you can still eat what the hell you want to eat. You just got to eat it in moderation. Like you just got to eat it in moderation. Like I'm not, yeah, I still be, because my weakness is chocolate cake, red velvet cake, Jolly Ranchers, and it's a couple other things too, but those are my weaknesses. It's like you can still eat them, you just got to eat them in moderation. Like I got a bag of Jolly Ranchers in my car right now. They're not open, but I got them in there. And so it's like moderation is key.
Yeah.
Like, and what there was one time where I was in the gym, and I like to eat candy, love candy. I was asking one of the trainers, I'm like, hey man, is there some type of I know candy's not good for you, but is there some type of candy with low sugar, low something? Because from time to time, I just want some candy. And that's when I was introduced to the gourmet, the Albanese. That's when I was introduced to Albanese. And since then, I found out that they have a low sugar candy, and the package is probably no bigger than this right here. And it's only 2 grams of sugar in the pack, and the pack like 70 calories. So I probably eat like one of those a week, maybe 2, but you have to have it in moderation. It has to be in moderation.
I like how you mentioned and just were just open about because most people, they would think, man, heck no, that's not possible. But it is. I even eat, the Waffle House, the Shake Shack or the Five Guys. I eat, man, tacos and things like that. But in terms of moderation, how did you develop the discipline to not overdo it? Because people hear moderation all the time, but how did you develop discipline? Like, okay, I'm gonna eat this and not feel guilty about it. And after I eat this, I'm done. I'm gonna get back to the routine. Like, how did that go about building that discipline?
So one of the things was, well, I know you always looking, so I know you always looking at everything. So right. I'm like, okay, that I'm thinking in my head, man, I'm tracking now, but when I first started, I wasn't tracking everything when I first started. I was just tracking what I thought you wanted to see. The fruit for breakfast, the eggs, and the turkey sausage, the steak and broccoli for lunch. So I was only tracking what I thought you wanted to see. Then I was like, you know what? Let me start tracking everything. I'm just going to track everything. Yeah. So what I kind of learned was that it's not going anywhere. There will always be somebody somewhere that's making a chocolate cake, that's making a red velvet cake. The store ain't going to stop getting packages of Jolly Ranchers. You're going to have the rest of your life to eat some Jolly Ranchers. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I love chocolate cake, love red velvet, love Jolly Ranchers, but you have to do it in moderation, because you don't want to mess up your calorie deficit, because the week where I think this was back in like late July.
Yeah.
There was a week where, because they have an Amish market in my area, and you go in there, they sell these things called pretzel logs, and they wrap up buffalo chicken and pretzels, steak and cheese, breakfast. I mean, them jokers are good. Them
Right.
jokers are good. There
Right.
was one Thursday where after work, I went up there, bought 3 of those, ate all 3 that Thursday, went back up there on Friday and ate another 3 on Friday. And I'm thinking in my head, at the time, I'm thinking, man, these jokers are good. These, and then as soon as I got done eating them, I'm like,
Mm.
the workout, this workout, all it's gonna do is just burn them calories off. That's all it's really doing.
Mm.
In a sense, I would have to do 2 workouts if I really wanted to see something, because the first workout is going to burn off what I just ate, and the second workout is going to be the real workout. So after that, I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, you got to do it in moderation. Moderation is key.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Moderation is key, and also having that structure around eating the right foods, eating the right amount of food, and then just setting whether it's once, twice a week, maybe even 3 times, where you enjoy yourself, and then you hang it up and get back into the game plan. You know what I'm saying? And were you about to say something? Yeah, and so that's how I've noticed, like most of our like really successful members who dropped a lot of weight, like you're not doing the nutrition plan perfectly, and like I know because I'm seeing everything. If y'all not dropping, and y'all see it when we do when I do y'all check-ins, hey, nutrition. If you're not tracking, you're slacking. Because even though y'all might put certain foods in there, if your weight ain't dropping, I know you're not doing exactly what you're supposed to do. I already know. And so it's just too many people. We've had hundreds at this point, probably close to about 700 something people inside the program. And so I see the patterns of, like, okay, when people do this, they get the results. When people don't do these things, they're not gonna get the results. But I'm super proud of you, man. For anybody who may be watching right now or listening, they may be on the fence. They may have been watching me for months, weeks, a day. What would you say to those people to get them out the fence to go ahead and help them change their life?
I would say this: make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Do it for the right reasons. Now, Jay not the only coach I follow on Instagram. He ain't the only trainer I follow on Instagram.
Right.
Like I'm saying, I pull different things from different people. Like, my philosophy is, if you're standing in a circle and you're the smartest person in that circle, you in the wrong circle. If I'm standing in a circle and I'm the second smartest person in the circle, I'm in the right circle. So you have to find your circle and what works for you. And okay, maybe Jay not the person for you. Well, find somebody else who is. Like, if you don't want to do in-person training for whatever reason, think it costs too much, this, that, and the third, find you an online coach. But I would stress to people, before you find that online coach, start going to the gym consistently first. Start going consistently before you get a coach, because you have to make sure you can show up for yourself first before you start trying to invest time in something. So when I say that, what I mean is show up for yourself and make sure you continue to show up for yourself before you invest your time and your energy into another person helping you out. Because in that instance, if you're doing that and you're not showing up, you're just in a sense wasting their time.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell people. Show up, and once you consistently start showing up for at least 1 month, then start worrying about, okay, let me get somebody to help me out along my journey.
That's a really good point, man. Because I've noticed the people who are really successful in the program, like every now and then I have people who come through who are brand new. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the overwhelming majority. The people who hit the ground running, and this is what I mean by not comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20 or 2025, because some people have been in a gym for not months but years, but they're just not getting the results. And so that type of person who jumps into my program, they're already somewhat familiar with the gym. They're familiar with, okay, this is better food than this food right here. But then I'm just giving them structure. I'm giving them structure around how much to eat, support, whenever they have questions, things like that, encouragement. And those people are able to just take off a sprint and get results. And then somebody who's brand new or just hasn't been doing anything, it just takes a little bit longer to build up that momentum. And like you just mentioned, Chris, what I love is not wasting our time. Like if you join and you brand new to working out, like, man, you're gonna have to put in that work. You're just gonna go through a little bit more discomfort than the person who's already built up the habit of just going to the gym. You got to build that habit up of being consistent and going to the gym, and you just got to be committed because it's gonna be just a little uncomfortable.
And then one more thing that I would also say is do it for yourself. Don't do it for nobody else. Like, I was watching a trainer's Instagram story the other day, and he told a story of, he was like, yeah, one of my female clients came in the gym and she talking about, I'm really debating why I'm here or not, because I still have dudes in my DMs and stuff like that talking about I look good and I look good. Well, me as the trainer told them, well, do you think you look good yourself? Are you comfortable with how you look? And that's all that needs to be said. Are you comfortable how you look? Are you confident with how you look? Like, and those things that you be saying, they are 100% true. Right. Yeah, you can lose weight doing cardio, but you're gonna look like a pogo stick. You have to make dates with the weights, like you say. You gotta make dates with the weights, and then there's another guy who I know where he's like less brunches, more crunches.
There you go.
It has to become ingrained within you for you to be successful at the program or whatever program you're in.
Yeah.
And another thing I would say is whatever a person's top 3 most important things are, or top 4 most important things are, one of those things, if you want to be on a fitness journey, one of those things needs to be fitness. Like, I don't care what order you put them in, family, faith, fitness need to be somewhere in there if you want to be on a fitness journey.
Yeah, that's super important, man. I talk about that from time to time, which is just values, man. You got to have values. What are your values? If you say your family is one of your values, and you're not taking care of yourself, you don't have to be all ripped up and cut up, but just taking care of yourself. And so that way you can have good health, good energy. You can be a healthy and fit role model for the people you love and care about. Like you say, family is important to you. You got to do those things. It's a duty and obligation for you to do those things because it's a value, you know?
And I've kind of always said, like, to this day,
yeah,
I still don't know what I want my weight to be in the end. All I know is that I just want a flat stomach. So whatever weight that comes with, whatever body fat that comes with, cool.
Right.
All I know is I just want a flat stomach.
Yeah.
If that's at 250, 240, 230, so be it.
Right. And guys, you know, I see trainers talk about you know, set a goal, set big goals. And guys, sometimes we can't see the finish line. Sometimes it's just not like that. We can only maybe see 3 months out, 6 months out. You know, like how you mentioned, man, I get 250 and I'm happy with that. Cool. You know what I'm saying? But once you get to that point, there's certain members I've had, like Jose, he dropped like 70 something pounds in 8 months. After he dropped his first 30, 35, he was like, hey, coach, let's run that back, man. Let's keep going. You see what I'm saying? And so you start to, as you progress, you start to see more possibilities, guys. All right. But super awesome success interview, man. I appreciate you jumping on, Chris. Great call. You know, with that said, man, everybody who's listening right now, if you've been on the fence and you like, man, I'm ready to make a change, you know, not just for, you know, my family and the people that I love and care about, but also for myself, because you deserve that. You know what I'm saying? You deserve to be able to do better. If you go be out here working, you know, working your butt off. I like how Eric Thomas, I listen to Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. He's like, get a reward for the pain you go through. Guys, we all going through some type of adversity, whether it be on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We're going through different things. Go ahead and get a result for it, you know?
And I would say one last thing. Whatever a person's motivation is, that's just what your motivation is. Like, my motivation was there are not going to be any more prescription slips. None. There ain't going to be no more prescription slips. That was my motivation. Like, I know certain females who are like, you know what? I just got out of a relationship. I'm going to hit the gym. Whatever your motivation is, that's your motivation.
That's so true. That's true. Everybody's motivation gonna be different, man. You know, we all different, not just physically, but intrinsically. The things that, you know, pull us into wanting to do things. So that's super important, man. You just gotta figure out what it is for you. Sometimes it may not just be getting a flat stomach. Sometimes it may be, man, I don't want things to get worse. You think about the consequence. The consequences motivate you, not just the vision of what you want to accomplish. And so I appreciate you sharing that. But guys, hopefully y'all found this podcast helpful. If you did, be sure to hit that follow button, leave your boy a 5-star rating so we continue to grow this movement. And we out of here. Let's go.
Yo, appreciate you for tapping in and listening to the podcast episode today. Hopefully you found it valuable. And if you did and you want to learn more about how I can help you lose the big ass stomach, transform your body, and get your health on point, DM me real results over on Instagram at JJacksonOfficial for more information. And I'll reach back out to you to do what I can to help you hit those health and fitness goals. Let's get it.